All right, can you hear me? I think you can hear me now. Let's see here. I don't honestly know what I did, but hopefully you guys find me again. Hello, happy Wednesday. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties, and that is why I restarted the stream. So if you're joining me, yeah, you can hear me now? Yeah, I didn't do any voodoo. I just like turned it off and on, you know. Thank you for telling me that, Eliza. We were having some trouble the other day. Remember it got all like staticky and stuff? Hopefully everyone finds me again. So, how was your guys' weekend? Tell me. So it's fall here, so it's like chilly, and I didn't bring a jacket. So I have a little studio jacket. It's the Wixton Howery, and it's just so great to throw on in my studio. It's like warm but not too hot, you know. So I feel like the cameras are kind of foggy. I don't know why. All right, I'll wait for you guys to get back here since we restarted. I made another pincushion, you know, a moon pie. 90s in Georgia? Yeah, I know, right, Lisa? Yeah, all I did was enable it and disable it and enable it again. I don't know. I have a really good microphone, so at least I know that. 92, oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, so it'll probably be 75 here today, where just the other day it was like 99. So fall, man. I love fall though. I really like it. It feels good. I like the transitions. I like it when it's cold at night. That's my favorite. Hey Megan, you made it back. All right. Cold and rainy in Wisconsin. Hot in Ohio and Georgia. It's crazy. So I've gotten a few questions about the pincushions and the cupcake and the pie. And what I decided to do is I'm going to make that pattern free for all of the people who have donated and support me on Patreon. And from after that, I have to like pull from all the different lists. Thanks, Marta. I'm glad you found me again, you guys. So there's people that just donate straight up. And I have a list of all of you. I'm pretty sure I have a pretty accurate list because I write it down so I can keep track. And thank you guys. And then, hi Mullen. And then the folks on Patreon, it should be pretty easy to get you the pincushion pattern. So you guys are all going to get it for free. And then probably in the future, I'll only do it for Patreon just because it's easier and I don't want to miss people and I don't like that feeling of missing people. You know what I mean? So there at least it's organized and it's it's like a nice little thing. Hi Veronica. But that's what I decided to do. I decided to give the pincushion pattern for free to anyone who has donated and supported me, and I feel like it's a great way to give back a little bit. And then I'll sell it after that, just, I don't know how much. Not for the full price of a pattern that you usually buy. And it'll have a video with it and instructions. The instructions won't probably be all illustrated or even photographed, but it will come with a video on how to sew it, of course, right? And I'm getting there. I'm like halfway done with the pattern. Like the hard part's all done, so. Or actually the easy part's all done. The hard part I'm doing now. Writing it all up, making it all look nice. Just formatting it. It's all there. It's just I gotta format it. So anyway, and then this is my making backpack. I know you guys are really curious about it. So I made mine out of canvas. It's obviously dirty. I brought it on a bunch of trips and I really loaded it down. You can see my straps they do have a bit of wear right there. So I feel personally the best way to reinforce straps is to stitch them down, not just have them in a seam. Like this is better right here because it's been stitched down right here. Now I know it has been in the seam right here in the binding. It's just not enough. It's just not enough for straps. Straps really need some reinforcement, especially webbing. Webbing is particularly fragile. even if you burn it, it's just like, it just starts pulling out of the seam really fast. That's why I went with the canvas. So if you're making one of these, I strongly suggest like straps like this where it's been like stitched down, you know, that is really, really reinforced, you know. And I really love bags like this. That like this bag is so great. Like if you follow the directions exactly, the strap lines up perfectly. And I love it when your backpack has a handle on the top, you know. Thanks, Lisa. I know, it was really fun. So only my front has stiffener. You can kind of see it's kind of boardy. The rest of it is just a layer of canvas in between. And then I think it's interfaced. And that's it. And then it has this nice little zipper pocket. And later ones I've made, I actually added this pocket to the inside as well, because having a couple of pockets is great. You know, I got this canvas wholesale, but it's just an organic cotton canvas. It's not very, very heavy. This right here has been interfaced and lined with cotton, this piece. You can kind of get an idea of how it feels. I made all my straps. I love the way they look, but it is a little tedious to do that because you have to turn them all right side out. And then I stitched them down, but they look really nice. Like they turned out way better than I would have ever thought. You know, they look machine, like made, like, you know, like, like I know they're machine made, but you know what I mean? Like an automatic machine. So it is a cotton duck. I'm pretty sure it's either a duck. I'm pretty sure this is a duck. You can tell by it's not a twill. It's a plain weave, you know? So, or I don't know if it's plain weave actually, but yeah, similar to a duck. Get something that you feel like you can sew with a couple layers behind it, you know, with the quilting cotton and the interfacing, but not too heavy. I think this is pre-washed, but I don't remember. But I like how broken in it's getting, you know, like the kind of weird lines of the color. And then I really fussy cut these little doodads, which are optional. You can just put these straight into the seam if you want, but I feel like this is really nice. It is not an outdoor, like, I'm going to backpack in this for 9 hours. Like, it's not comfortable like that, but it is pretty comfortable. I also added these little pull tabs because I like having able to pull, you know. But this is the making backpack. I've made a few. It's pretty great. This is stitched down right here so that you don't get stuff stuck in the corners. Very clever, you know. So anyway, the hardware, like that's what dictated why I made my straps, because I wanted 1.5 inch straps, but I didn't have all the matching. I didn't have all I didn't have the right webbing. I had 2 inch that matched perfectly. That's what it was. And I didn't have 2 inch hardware. Hardware is sometimes the stumbling block for these things. I didn't want black plastic either. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you guys mine. Mine's a little furry, fuzzy, dirty. But it is really great. It's a nice, you know, a nice size. So, all right. So today, that is, hello Mediu. That is the Making Backpack by Noodlehead. And I pulled it out on Saturday because we kind of had more of a like casual just sewing type of stream. And I thought I have one of these cut out for my nephew. And it's not like me to have projects sitting here staring me in the face and I don't get to them, but that one has been for a while, for a few months. And I thought, you know what, maybe I'll pull this out. And when I pulled it out, I was like, ooh, I'm not sure which piece is which right now. And I forgot that I didn't have all the like notions cut. So I was like, all right, maybe we'll do this another time. And everyone seemed kind of interested in just sewing. We should just sew one together. So it was in the Making magazine. Noodlehead had provided it, and then eventually she was able to release it for sale. So you can find it on her website, Noodlehead. I think her name's Anna Graham, like her real name. And it's hi Lexi. And so you do have to draft your own pattern pieces. It's all measurements. But what I would recommend is not drafting them onto the fabric. Draft them onto paper so you can make another one, because you might want to make another one. Look at do I look like I'm in fog? Why does it look so foggy? Is it just me? It might be because my light's right above the screen. Yeah, it's really fun. I would totally check out the hashtag #MeToYou and see all the different ones people have made. They're really cute. They're really cute. It was fun. And it's pretty easy to make because you construct everything flat. And then at the last 2 steps, you attach it together with 2 seams that are bound. And your binding doesn't show on the outside, so it's a really great practice one. Yeah, it's great, Lisa. I made one for my niece and I scaled it down 80% by just scaling it down 80%. Just because, you know, she was a little smaller. And she really liked it. So I don't have a picture of that one. I don't even remember what it looked like. Oh, it was bunny themed. I didn't get any pictures. That's me. That is so me, you guys. I will make things and not even take pictures. So I've made one that was moon and star print with actually these fabrics here from my sister. She's really into celestial stuff. So I made her a navy blue one with moons and stars on it, and I put her constellation on that little like piece where the cat was in the center. So yeah. And then that one was mine. And I've had people say, "Will you make me one of those?" Like friends. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna make you one. It is one of those things, those bags. Like you feel like when you make one, you're like, oh, it's really hard to decide on your fabrics because you just want to make like 12. It lends itself to doing cute fabrics. And on mine, I actually fussy cut the top right here. And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't make a big difference. So you don't have to kill yourself doing that. See right here? You can tell, like, see how this is fussy cut? So I actually made it so, you know. But really, would you guys know I had done that, you know? Unless there was something really right there, you know? So don't kill yourself doing that. And you don't really need a whole lot. You don't have to use a print on the inside either. So yeah, anyway. So we are making the toaster sweater today. And this stream is sponsored by Hearts Fabric because they have generously provided the fabric here and the pattern. And there's 2 views for the toaster, and they're really different from one another. Like if you look at the hashtag, it's kind of, you know, 2 different sweaters completely. So you have the one here. This is the one we're making. We're making version 1. It's got wide arm cuffs and a wide waistband, and then the turtleneck. I almost said mock turtleneck, but it's pretty tall. So I wouldn't quite call it mock, except the fact that it's wide like a boat style. So it's not close, which is great for me at least. And then you have this one here. It's more of a mock turtleneck, almost sewn cowl style. So it's a little loose. This is much drapier, and it's got side vents on the hem. I love how dark her ink is on this. This is great. I can actually show you. The sizing goes up to a size 47-inch bust, which on this pattern is a double XL, and a 50-inch hip. Waist 39.5 inch, and it goes down to a 32-inch bust, 35-inch hip. 24.5 inch waist. And so when I say the measurements, I always give you the top one right here, right? So there's a range. It says 31 to 32 inch bust. But the thing is, I could say that it goes down to a 31 inch bust, but it's meant to fit the 32 the best. That's upper end. That's why I'm telling you that. Let's see. I don't think there's much else to say about that. But this fabric is really awesome, you guys. So it's yarn dyed. It's not a print. It's actually, you know, I mean, it could be printed, but it looks yarn dyed. Oh, maybe it is printed. I think it's yarn dyed and then knitted together. And then the other side is brushed. This is probably one and done. Once these are, they're gone because they didn't get this in the traditional. They bought it, you know, from a fabric company. They bought this probably from a fashion company that used it in their line, and then they just sold the rest. Hi, Maribel. It's 97 degrees in Alabama. We're in that really awkward time where it's like, do I wear a dress or do I, you know, snuggle up, right? So I know, it's like kind of hard to even imagine wearing this to you, I'm sure, Maribel. So it's pretty thick, look at that. But at the same time, look at how stretchy it is. It's really stretchy, really soft. It still has that structure. I feel like because it's been knitted, machine knit, it has that kind of, you know, it's got a nice hand. But it has been brushed on the back, so it's got the fleece. So if it weren't brushed right there, that's what it would look like. See that? So yeah, it's like, it's not that it's been yarn dyed. I shouldn't say that. Yarn dyed, I feel like, more typically refers to something that's been woven, like a plaid, right? So that you have two different colors that you're weaving together. This is two different colors that have been knitted together. It's a little different. I'm not really great about my textile terms, you guys. Yeah, I know I have a degree in fashion. I don't have a degree in textiles. Textiles is like this massive, massive thing. And honestly, if you go into textiles, they end up kind of like the synthetic thing is kind of the big deal. It's like a chemical thing. So there's like two branches of textiles. So it's kind of like, I've lived in both worlds with the textile things because I worked in the outdoor industry, but then I really like natural fibers myself. So I know a little bit, but I know what I like to use in a garment. It's really nice, Eliza. They have a black left right now. This is navy blue, which probably doesn't look that navy blue to you. And so if you want to look it up on their website, Harts Fabric, H-A-R-T-S, not with the E. It is the Melange Sweater Fleece Black. And it's item 99078. 58 inches wide, and it's a cotton blend. So that's about all I know about it. That's why I know it's kind of like a fabric that they got as leftover from a fashion company. You know what I mean? So, and you guys, we have a discount code, SOSO10. So if you want to pick some up, SOSO10 will help you out. So, hey. Hi. That's my daughter. You can probably barely see her. All right, see ya.
Okay, see you later. Have a good stream.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Since that person came in and stole my wallet, I put a dog gate right there on the door. So people just can't walk in. Okay, cool, Lexi. So the fabric's not on the website quite yet, but it will be. Yeah, right? You could probably wear this in January. Absolutely. It's kind of nice this time of year to sew things for the cooler months so that they're waiting for you when it gets cold or when like that first cold day. And you're like, oh, man. You know, it's like when you start like opening up your wardrobe to like enter back in all the warm fuzzy clothes, but then you're like, oh, some of it you're like, oh, I haven't seen this in a while and I bought it towards the end of the season and it feels new to me still. Some of it you're like, oh gosh, I've been wearing this for 6 years. But this would be really nice, right? You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna throw this on. So anywho, we are making version 1, which is this one right here. And you know, I was thinking about it. This would be really cute if you made it into a little jacket. You could just put a zipper straight up the front and turn it into a jacket. Be really easy to do. Unlined little fleece jacket. That would be nice. That sounds so cute. All right, let's set this down over here. So let's see, I'm gonna be making the large. Hearts is really nice and they let me make the size that will fit me even though I don't get to keep it. And that's great because then I get to try it on. You can see how it fits me and my body and then know a little bit more about how that works. But I always encourage you guys to look at the hashtag. And this one has a couple. So if you want to look at the specific version, people have been kind enough to put the hashtag toaster sweater 1 for that version and 2 for the other version. So just so you know. And then there's probably one that's just toaster sweater. So it's a little bit busy for the camera, but I don't think it's gonna, hopefully it doesn't do that weird thing it does sometimes, huh? All right, so they traced out the pattern on the Swedish tracing paper, which is always really nice. It's a raglan style. This looks like a lot of fabric. I'm gonna cut, let's see, this is the, it's interesting they call it a T-neck. Is that for toaster? This is the neck, so we want it to go this way. We want this one. Oh, it's interesting. This does the greatest stretch. Okay, so sometimes, see it says greatest stretch right there. Not the grain line, it's the way that the greatest stretch is. So we'll set those aside. We'll set all of our cuffs aside. And then let's just do our bodice first. So I'm gonna cut off a piece of fabric here so that we can put 2 pieces on the fold, you know. Yeah, so I put a dog fence in my studio so that people don't just walk in now. But the funny thing is she had to come to get the key because the other day I went home and I tried to get into the house and I couldn't turn my key. And okay, so ever since this person took my wallet, oh, now someone's knocking on the door. Just a second. Hi, I'm live right now. Can I talk to you in a bit? No, I heard them come and deliver, but I don't know where it went. Yeah, good luck. But at least people are knocking now. So I got home and I couldn't turn my key in the lock. It was really hard to put in. I couldn't, and I got totally spooked. I got started like that paranoid thing. I'm not like a spooked person. I don't really feel like unsafe or anything, or I'm pretty practical. But you know, like this is why I don't listen to like murder podcasts, you know, those types of things, because I don't really want to feel that way. But I started going, did someone try to like put something in our lock to copy my key? And which I'm pretty sure logically isn't even possible. But what happened was my daughter left her keys in the car, like while her keys were in the car, something melted on top of it, probably food. And so then she shoved her key in the lock and there's like all this gunk in our lock. So we had to change our locks. So she had to come to get the key because that happened last night. She stayed the night. She went up and saw sunrise this morning, and I was like, "Oh, by the way, you can't get back in." So it's like one thing after another, people. All right, so I'm trying to stay away from this selvage. See how wide it is? You guys see that? It wouldn't hurt, but it's kind of nice to try and stay away from it. Get rid of this. All right, so last thing someone said, what Lexi said. You guys are so quiet. I feel like I lost my chat again. It's just like that lately, right? So this definitely has a grain line. You know, you really want your stretch. There's stretch going both ways, but the majority of it is going crosswise on the fabric. Hi, Shanika. How's it going? We're making the toaster sweater today by Sew House 7. Trying to get this right on the fold. I don't want to add anything by accident, like girth wise. All right. So what'd you guys do this weekend? I'm gonna come back to that right there. And I can do it from the other direction. I'm with you, Malin. You're multitasking, Lexi. Doing your thing. I know, my table over there is It's a little frightening. I have like little pieces of felt everywhere from cupcakes. My quilt that I started, you know, is kind of spreading out a little bit over there. And I found a box of fabrics that Cricket had at home from when she was sewing. And I thought, you know, I'll just bring these home. I used to have a table twice that size, but I was like, you know, it's just me. I can probably dial it back. One table will be enough, you know. This is the back. So I'm going to... I'm not sure about all these notches here. Let's look through the directions. Like there's double notches here, here, a single here, and double notch here. So if they're just guides for attaching things, I'll probably use the center. But if I don't really need them for any other reason for lining up, then I'm probably going to just do the center. And I'm going to use my scissors to nip it like this. I did this one here. And then I'm going to put a double notch right here. Because I can't really, the fabric is so thick and fluffy, using my blade, I could do it with the rotary knife. I usually do, you know me. But it's hard to tell, you know, it's really hard to tell. Did I get deep enough? Did I get too deep? Hi, Polly. Oh, you haven't missed much, Polly. I had some technical difficulties at the beginning and I restarted the stream. Oh, you got a cat on your lap. Nice. You hate laundry, Terry? What would make laundry better? I don't mind it. Like, doing it's no problem. It's the putting it away part. You know? I'm sure that's exactly what you're going to be like. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. All right, so I think I cut off that piece like this. I'm just going to look at this fabric because I do feel like it could be one way. I just want to make sure it's not. I know I cut off from this end here, so just making sure. When you're not sure, just be consistent if you have enough fabric. Just trying to get that to stay relaxed, but also be straight. I don't think I'll be able to use that. Maybe. Maybe. Someone else doing it. Oh, that's a good answer. I only put away mine. So, it's not so bad. I have more anyway than my husband does. And he does his own. I mean, like, we're pretty easy that way. Like, it's not just one person's job. But I finally like gave myself permission to like watch a program while I do it, and then I look forward to it. You know, I'm like, ooh, your washing machine's broken, Mata. As long you're lucky now, but then when it piles up, you're gonna be like, oh shoot. This is why putting the blade against the fabric is always better. See how it pushed it away a little bit? It's just that little bit of thickness there, especially when it's thick fabric like this. All right, I'm just gonna cut this off now. Throw it away. Do my centers. And because I was really good about notching my back sleeve, I'm not going to notch this one. I know it's the front by default then. I'm always looking for time-saving things. I usually have a little bin here now, and I forgot my bin. You could put a kangaroo pocket on this as well, but you'd probably want to lengthen it because the waistband's kind of high, so you don't really want your kangaroo pocket right here. You know, that would be A little distracting. Let's see if any of these will work here. This one's on the fold. This one isn't. So look at that. I actually can get the cuffs. I can get one, right? The stuff, oh, I can get two. Okay. Okay, let's go. That's good. Look at that. Let's see. You can get the fronts and the cuffs across the width of the fabric. I'm cutting it real close right there. Let's see. I don't think I took it off grain. I'm gonna look at it like this. It's a really wide cuff, but if you wanted to shorten it, I would lengthen your sleeve and then shorten your cuff. And so remember that you don't want to lose the, you want to stay with the same circumference of your sleeve. So if you're wanting to maybe shorten this cuff, I feel like that would be the one thing people would say is, oh, the cuff's too kind of long. It's very stylized that way, but if you're looking for something a little more, I don't know, standard, you can lengthen this, but when you go to do it, you could just cut it off of the cuff. Look at that. It's the exact same width. So remember, I'm overlapping it right now by the seam allowance. So, because I think it's about 3/8. I can also see this little shape here. So I know that where that shape is right here, can you see it? That's the seam allowance. It might be like a 1/2 inch seam. That is the juncture of the seam allowance. Let's see. Oh, seam allowances are, oh, wait a minute, are 5/8 unless otherwise stated. All right, so you would actually overlap this like 1.25 inches, like about that right there. But the thing is, you have seam allowance here, so you could just be like, I want this cuff to only be 2 inches wide, right? So you would need to go 2 inches from that fold line there, right? And then add 5/8 on either side, this side and that side. And then you could go like this. You could say, all right, so if I did that, this cuff now is, it's about, let's see. Yeah, it's about 3¼ inches longer. So you could just add the 3/4 inch here, or 3¼ inches here. So add your 3¼ inches, draw your parallel line to this edge, and then extend it down, you know? But just do what you want. Just remember to take it off of here, add it to there, same amount. And looks like it's the same circumference. All right, so let's cut our cuffs here. The neck, if you want the neck shorter, you can just make it shorter. You don't have to add to the garment. All right. Let's see, we've got all our layers there. The Swedish tracing paper works so good on here. It just sticks. You barely even need the weight. I just put the weight on there also because it makes the layers shift less or not at all, right? Take our time getting this right. All right, I'm barely on there. There we go. Easy peasy. You could even do contrast cuffs. You could flip your cuff around. maybe. That'd be the softer, cozier side on your sleeve. You could do your sleeve, you know. Because remember, you're folding it on itself, right? Otherwise, it's like this. This is really soft, though, either side. All right. I think that there was a notch here. The double notch, I don't think is necessary. So I'm just going to do a single, you know, you can do the double notch. It's just so that you know that that edge goes to the sleeve, right? So I'm going to do a notch here, and then I'm going to make sure I notch the sleeve as well. Having that center point is so nice when you're sewing it together as kind of a guide. But, you know, the thing is, this one isn't stretched to fit. So you're probably going to be okay without any notches right here if you wanted. If it was stretched to fit, it'd be really nice to have that guide, you know, like that halfway point as you're coming around. All right. So now we have our sleeves and we have our waistband. Raglan sleeves are quite large because they include the shoulder region of the garment. So usually, you know, your cap would be like right here, and then this is your shoulder right here. And when I only have like one piece like this, I always bias it towards the selvage edge. That way, say I didn't need any more pieces cut out right now, I would have the biggest possible piece right there, leaving it away from the fold. I don't know why, but I used to always, when I cut things out, I always gravitated towards putting things towards the fold. And then you'd have this like hole in the middle of your fabric, right? So, you know, I'm just thinking ahead here. We have our neck band though, which is actually on the fold, so we can do that. And then we still have our waistband here. Just gonna go this way as well. So we still have plenty of fabric. Let's look at our grain line here. Just gonna make sure it's parallel to the selvage right now. All right. There's that little center spot right there in the sleeve that I want to make sure I notch. Honestly, I really don't think you need it because it's going to be so easy to sew this cuff on there because there's no stretching and it's not very big. So if you're confident. I'm not saying notches aren't a good thing, but anytime you can get away without them, I like it that way, mainly because, especially with knits, as you're stretching and putting things on, knits tend to curl, right? And when you have that little slit in the fabric, sometimes the fabric will, like, you know, here's the little slit. It'll curl down on this side, but not this side. And then you only catch in part of the seam, right? That little piece gets skipped. And then you end up having a hole on the outside of your fabric, on your outside of your garment. So if you don't really need the notches, then you can just leave them off. And you also don't add that weak point to the fabric by putting a little cut in it, if that's how you notch like I do. There was a time when people would actually, you know, the little triangles popped out, and people would actually leave those as visible little triangles poking out. That was a lot of effort to spend cutting it out, but it was a nice visual cue. And then you just cut it off, right? It's not there. All right, definitely want to note your front sleeve from your back sleeve. We've notched the back, so I'm going to just continue with notching the back. Should have just notched the front. It would have only been a single notch then. All right. I don't think we'll need this, but we'll just put the center thing right here. Center notch. Plenty of seam allowance for notches. It's like 5/8, so that's pretty generous. All right, we have our neckband. Oh yeah, you could chalk your notches. That's a great idea, Lisa. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I used to think it was funny when I would see a sewist leave the little triangles, but the more I sewed, and usually I only saw beginners do that, but honestly, it's kind of smart. Because like I said, you're not like adding a little weak point by slitting into your garment. And let's face it, I mean, how often do we get the top layer slit equal to the bottom layer slit, then we overcompensate and the top layer slit is much deeper than the bottom layer? I mean, I have been guilty of that. So honestly, it's really great when you just have those little triangles. They're a visual cue. You see them. You don't have to find your notches. And then you can just cut them off when you don't need them, right? I'm gonna do both, Terry. I'm gonna sew it on the serger. And then I noticed that the sleeves are top stitched on either side of the seam. So I'm going to test my serger out for the cover stitch, but I was gonna ask you guys what you prefer, because I was thinking I could use one of those twin needles on my home machine. All right, so here's the double notch there, a single notch here. So I notched my center back neck and I notched my center front neck. For my center back neck, I have the back seam, and for my center front neck, I have the notch. Because I figure most people, if they have a serger, may not have the cover stitch. You vote for the cover stitch? Yeah. Yeah, right, Malin? I know, I lose my pins at notches too. And when I'm gonna serge something, I get a little nervous adding pins to anything, just in case, you know? I don't want to serge a pin. Never done that before. You vote cover stitch? All right. I'm gonna work on my cover stitch then. You want to see the twin needles, Terry? Maybe we could do both. I don't think Hearts would mind. Then they could actually show their customers either. You know? My cover stitch has been acting meh. It looks great, but it's not that stretchy. But I'm feeling renewed interest in conquering it right now. I don't want to take it in. Hi, Pam. How's it going? Yeah, exactly. So you don't have a serger, the twin needle would be great. Yeah, right, Veronica? Exactly. So people do that. They cut the triangles out. All right, so on this piece here, I actually didn't look, they gave me the pattern pieces, but I didn't look at this one. So this grain line here is the stretch line, and that might be on the pattern that way. So just pay attention to the fact that it says the greatest stretch. Is what you need, and this is the waistband. Really, Lexi? I was wondering that. When I saw that they were top stitched, I thought that was really interesting. So Lexi hasn't even top stitched them at all, you guys. It's honestly, if I were making this without anyone watching, Lexi, that's what I would probably do. Because it's softer that way, you know? And my thing about, like, if you have to put the twin needle, if you're straddling the seam, does that mean you're leaving the seam allowances raw and opening them up? All right, so we have a lot of notches going on here. Is this looks like the seam is on the side seam, which is be really cool. The neck is in the center back. But looks like the waist, the seam's on the side, which is awesome. I like that better. So let's notch here, here, and here. I can't tell if you stretch this to sew it on yet. We will find out. Lexi, I didn't start reading directions until I started the live stream. I started realizing, like, I don't want to lead people astray, and I don't want to disregard the hard work of the pattern drafters who put the pattern together, and they're like, look, the best way to put this together is the way we're telling you, and I don't want to disregard that either, you know? I'm going to put a notch right here, too, halfway between the front and the back. Exactly, Lisa. That's what I was thinking, too. This would be really, really fast if you're not doing any top stitching. Totally agree. Let's see how this is. I'm curious. It's kind of high, right? Let's take off the jacket. All right. I'm always curious. Yeah, so it doesn't even stretch. That's nice. Hi, Raquel. How's it going? Good to see you. Oh, you're fine. Can you guys see this as a jacket, though? I can totally see it as a little jacket. All right, this is our leftover fabric. We've got chunk. A little bit. You could make a cozy, you know, I don't know what. I'm at a loss. It's kind of a weird shape. Let's see how it looks. All right, we have our sleeve, right? We have our cuff. We have the back, like this. Raglans are so fun, you know? The front. This is the waist. This is the neck. So let's see. Yeah, so you don't stretch the neck either. Easy peasy, you guys. Right? Easy peasy. A little busy for the camera, huh? But it's got that really cool, it's not herringbone. I should show you up close. And it's navy blue. It's got a really great texture. It's so squishy and soft. All right, here's our neckband. That's it, you guys. That was fast. So fast. This is one of those things where you're like, I need something cozy, and I can just whip this out, right? Sleeves, we'll put those with you. Waistband underneath, neckband right here. Yay! That's it. It took an hour with chatting and figuring out my microphone. Not bad, huh? Look at that. It'll be good. So yeah, maybe I will. I'm gonna research. Let's read the instructions for this top stitch actually, because I'm kind of curious. Do you open up the seam? It doesn't really say. Yeah, it doesn't really say. So it says to press the seams towards the bodice, but then use the twin needle on the seam. So I'm gonna tell you right now, my cover stitch won't like that. I'm really sorry. If I serge it together and then press the seam towards the front, that'll be 3 layers of fabric on the front and 1 layer of fabric on the back. And then I'd have to cover stitch that. That's kind of a yikes. That's kind of a yikes for most machines. I'm going to tell you this right now. I mean, there's industrial sergers or industrial cover stitches that are going to have that no problem. But I find with a lot of home machines, anytime that there's differences in widths, that is when you kind of come into some difficulty unless you have a really nice high-end machine. Mine is a really nice high-end machine, but it's also like 15 years old, you know? So, you know, it's kind of seeing some days. I think it would sew it, but I think it would be not worth the hassle. And opening it up just wouldn't look the nicest on the inside. I don't know, you guys. We may have to skip the top stitching. I'm looking at my serger over there like it's going to tell me something. That is a really quick sew. That's a really quick sew. We don't do that though. I didn't want it to go so quick. Yeah, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? I'll play around with my serger. Let me get some fabric ready for that. But I'm pretty sure, I don't think I can do the cover stitch with that differential of thickness. Do you guys, those of you with cover stitches, how do you feel about that? Like, have you had trouble with that as well? Yeah, I could Shanika, but even still, I would probably only top stitch the side with the fabric pushed towards it. And then I would do it the way, like the kind of old school way where you stretch the fabric as you do it. You know what I mean? So there's like old school ways of sewing with knits that you can find that are actually they work really, really good. You can stretch the fabric as you go. That way you're putting in the stretch for the stretch stitch, right? You don't want to zigzag with your top stitch. That's unnecessary if you're not really needing the top stitch. Zigzag is there to create stretch. So make it wavy. Exactly. Well, that's exactly what I was thinking, Lisa, is that it could make it wavy in the first place. But at the same time, the fabric's such nice body that I don't think that that would be quite the issue. I was more thinking that it would be lost. It would be lost on this print because, you know, it'll just get kind of, you know, sunk in there, and then the print's kind of busy. So I'm going to play around with it, and I'll play around with it a little bit with you guys as well so we can see together. You know me, I don't hide from the challenges, but at the same time, I don't want to force it to be something it couldn't be as good as, you know? I think I worded that really poorly, but I think you know what I mean. I'm feeling awkward today. So I really wanted to push my cover stitch into submission, but this isn't the project. You just gotta call it. And it's interesting because if you were to do the other one, the visible stitching here, like you could use your cover stitch on the sleeve hems here, which would be nice, or a zigzag or some sort of stretch stitch, because getting your hand through the wrist hole of this, you definitely need it to be stretchy. So if you're making that version, make sure that it's stretchy. And for the vent, you're just gonna have to be careful when you're sewing it. You're not going to need it to be stretchy, but you will need the machine to want to stitch straight for that long, because I find sometimes sewing on knits and stretchy things like that, the machine sometimes gets a little like fussy. My home machine used to. My old one, not this one, but my old one. So I would definitely, you know, look at that. But there's a really nifty trick to making these hems where you miter the corners. I saw that. So yeah, so this might be a one stream project. Sorry, hearts. Hi, Beverly. Just guy, you're wondering if you're doing a second raglan to compare the two popular patterns or see how the turtleneck works. Wait, what do you mean? Like, doing a second raglan to compare the two popular patterns or see how the turtleneck works. I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're asking, Beverly. I feel like I know like for Nancy's made this and she really loves it, but she made this one. And she wasn't a big fan of the way this is styled. Oh, okay. I actually thought maybe that's where you're going with that. Yeah, I actually have that here. You mean the Linden sweatshirt. Yeah, I have one here I can show you. I could make both views, Shanika. Yeah, I don't have enough fabric this time, but I probably would. Interestingly, next week we're making something that's a similar silhouette to the bottom of this. It's a pullover zip neck tee. So that'll be a good option if you want that kind of thing. Yeah, so Beverly, yeah, the Linden, how do they differ? So the Linden has a pretty open neck. Let me go get mine. It's sitting over here. I keep meaning to photograph it. So for the Linden, which is also a raglan, and I saw another raglan today on Instagram. My label always pushes the seam allowance up. I don't like that. We can compare this. This is so soft. I got this fabric from Hearts too. It's really lightweight French terry, but it's so soft. This is stretch. This is the fabric. So we can look at this. This is the sleeve. So the way I would compare this is by lining it up to the armhole the best you can. Right about here. It's 5/8 inch seam. I don't know for certain if this is the same depth. It's kind of hard to compare patterns when you don't have the same 0 point to compare to. And it's not like pattern companies are going to give you a 0 point. You know what I mean? You can't line it up the neckline because that can move as well. So sometimes the thing that can move the least is the armhole depth, because you know you wouldn't want armholes too deep or too tight, right? So it can kind of fluctuate the least amount. So I'm going to use it as kind of the baseline. And that looks about right. I mean, it is a really wide waistband. You know? So if this were about the same, this neck comes up further quite a bit, almost 2 inches. And this is just the front neck. It also doesn't mean that their neck and shoulder area is exactly the same. You know what I mean? So, and I will say, Beverly, that for this Linden, I'll put it on for you. I feel the neck is a little open if you're wanting it to be something that kind of keeps you warm, you know? But it's pretty open. Actually, I like the way this came out, but I don't like the way I fabricated it. I kind of wish I would have done white with blue sleeves. But you see how open this is? It probably doesn't look very open to you, but it feels really open when I'm wearing it, and it doesn't feel that warm. But it is a very, you know, kind of standard sweatshirt. So this isn't the one we made on camera. I made a different fabric, but I cut this one out on camera with you guys. And the one I made was for my local fabric store with the unicorn, those chubby unicorns, remember that? And That one had no waistband, but it had sleeve cuffs, right? And this one is one I did with my machine. We were just talking about machine stitching the sleeve. Oh, I did that. Look at how bad I did that. Don't look at that. Don't look. Let's see if this one's better. This one's a little better. I stretched this as I sewed it. Well, it's not much better, is it? What I do when you're not watching. Yeah, exactly. The linen's pretty open. And then I feel like, Beverly, I feel like I actually think I changed this pattern in a stream right after I did it, when we did a pattern drafting stream, because I decided that the next time I made it, I wanted it to be closed. And I just added an inch, I'm pretty sure an inch all the way around. Like, it's very equal for me. The way it sits on, because everyone's like neck sits different places on the body, your shoulders and everything, you know, we're all really different. So for me, adding 1 inch all the way around kind of gets it up there. So yeah, you saw me change it. Yeah, so that's exactly it. I didn't end up doing the kangaroo pocket that I cut out for this, and the reason I didn't was I didn't want to switch my thread. It's pretty bad, huh? I didn't want to, I think I had like, I didn't want to switch to my serger to cover stitch. So bad, I know. I should have just like machine sewed it instead of with the serger like straight stitch, you know. But no, I get lazy too. So yeah, that's how they compare. And you know, Beverly, if I think you're on Instagram. Are you on Instagram? Do I know you on Instagram? Because I just saw a sweatshirt pop up in my feed that someone made. And I can't think of what it was. It wasn't one I'd heard of. So it's another option. But you might go to one of those, you know, like go to Hearts and see if they have other sweatshirt patterns, or places like, is it Indie Sew and Indie Sew, right, you guys? That's where you can kind of like keep your patterns on there, right? Yeah, like your projects on there. Textilia, patternreview.com. Pattern review, you know, go to one of those websites and maybe look for sweatshirts, and maybe there's a good one. I think this one would be pretty easy to modify. Like, I actually think like I like where this one sits everywhere right here. And I've seen a few people make this neck like half the height. It's really cute. I'm not a big fan of the wide cuffs, but you could actually fold those up. So yeah. Anywho, so I probably won't use my cover stitch, but I'll play around with it and we'll see. I'm definitely going to serge it together, and then I'll probably will I use the single needle at all? Huh. You could serge this whole thing together, and Lisa's right, it'll be a 15-minute sew. No, not that quick, but yeah. So if you guys are cutting one of these out, depending on your knit, just make sure you cut it out really close to when you're going to sew it, just in case you have a fabric that's not a double knit, because you don't want the edges to curl. So yeah, this is nice and flat right now, and it'll probably stay that way because this is the kind of knit you want for that kind of reason. You can use whatever you want, but it's when the fabric curls on you, it just adds a whole layer of frustration that none of us really want. You know what I mean? All right, well, I'm sorry it's so short today, but I'm gonna get back to that pincushion pattern. So I just wanted you all to know that for those of you who supported me financially, like on Patreon or through the Streamlabs link, I'm gonna give you that pattern for free because I finally feel like I have a way to like give back to you. I know the streams are free, but I really appreciate that support. And I'll make it available to for sale to everyone else for a small fee, like probably the price of the entry level of Patreon type of thing, like $5. And that way, I feel like it's a good, you know, it's a good balance. Hope you guys all are okay with that. And I'm busily working on it. It should be done soon. I told the Patreon folks by the end of October at the very latest, but that gave me a lot of time because you never know what's going to happen. So we'll see. So I will be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Yeah, that includes you, Raquel. And anyone who's, like I keep a list. I'm trying to, and maybe someday I might not be able to have that little list, but I keep a little list of everybody. I try and thank everybody, but if they do it off stream, I know they're trying to do it on the down low, and I totally respect that. So thank you. You'll see me tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific. Hopefully my mic doesn't do that crazy thing, but I think maybe I fixed it. Oh, did you guys see that my stream continued on Saturday? It did that weird thing. And then Ray emailed me and she was like, hey, it says you're live, but it's just your thumbnail screen. And she was right. And it was so hard to make my stream stop streaming from home, like while I was at home. I had to kind of go through some mental gymnastics. God, why does it look like I blend in with my wall? Yeah, Lisa, that'll include you too. So, yeah, that was kind of crazy. But I went to yesterday and I saw that the stream is still there. I probably caught it in time that it wasn't this 24-hour long stream. So I don't know what's going on. It's not me. I saw it in stream. I mean, you guys know I watch that. So, I press that button, I make sure it goes off. But when I went to close Streamlabs that day, it acted weird. And I was like, oh no. So, you guys, I don't like all the technical stuff. I just want to sew. But I really love spending time with you guys. So, I'm like trying to work it out. It's just so fun. But, oh man, I need some video skills. All right, well, I will see you guys tomorrow. 11 a.m. Pacific. We'll sew the toaster sweater. And, yeah, you know, I'm kind of like, maybe on Saturday, I could sew the other one. Let me think about it. I have some fabric that I do need to use. Is this what I want it in, though? That's the question. So, let me see. Because then I could just cut it and we could sew that one on Saturday. I'll look at the hashtag. Bye, Pam. All right. Well, hasta mañana, iguanas. I'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific. We'll sew the toaster sweater version 1. Thank you, Hearts Fabric, for sending us the fabric and the pattern and all the notions. And I will see you tomorrow. So I can't tell if you're clapping or waving. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you soon.